TCWEEK cocktail sessions, educational and inspirational talks from experienced startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Jen and Frank, thank you guys. Really appreciate the opportunity. I think the first thing I wanted to start out with was to really look at you. And I'm here because you're here. We are all the entrepreneurs, the startup pioneers, the explorers that have gone out there and are pursuing our ideas and pursuing our dreams. And I think I'm in really good company when I come and talk to folks like yourself. So thank you for making us stop in downtown Las Vegas on that journey. It took me 23 years to launch my first startup. But it wasn't because I didn't have ideas. I've got tons of ideas. I'm an idea machine. It's not that I didn't have a good network or access to funding. I was stuck in a comfort zone. That comfort zone is where I really do really well. It was the other areas that I didn't feel strong in. I have 23 years of startup experience, and I feel like I'm a professional student of startups. I joined my first startup in 1993. There was a small company in Silicon Valley in Santa Clara that was disrupting the mobile computing space. They had created a product that allowed a laptop to connect to an external device, like a CD-ROM or a hard drive, and that hadn't even been done before. I was the head of sales and marketing. I was probably 23 years old, and I thought, this is the job. A year later, we sold the company for $12 million, and I was hooked. I'm like, this is cool. I can work for a company really hard for a year, and we get a good payout, and I can have fun along the way. So my next startup was a company called Internex. They were an internet service provider in the Bay Area, South Bay. They were also a disrupting company. They had introduced the concept of co-location services, and back then, companies like PG&E, Verizon, Cisco weren't going to put $50,000 and $100,000 worth of hardware at somebody else's shop. Even though we had a big pipe coming in, we had big bandwidth, they thought that we were audacious just coming in and asking for that. But again, like my first company, they were a disrupting company. They were creating a new market or disrupting an old market, and I loved it. 2 years later, we sold that company for $32 million. I'm thinking, wow, this is big money. This is great. Let's keep doing it. But I thought I needed a change. And so I went and put my name out. This is fall of '96, and I got a nice offer from a new magazine, a new media company called Wired. Wired had offered me a director of marketing position. I'm thinking, oh, this is the next job for me. They had a great downtown location. It was the cool place to work, and they had great funding. So I got the offer, had it in hand. I said, hey, I need a week to go and just think about this, and I'll come back. And I was completely convinced I wasn't accepted, but I didn't. My dad taught me, don't accept the job on the first offer. You go, you negotiate. So I went off to New York. I was going to a conference. I met a guy. His name was Ali Partovi. Ali Partovi and his brother Hadi are running Code.org, a great organization to help teach coding in school. Ali convinced me to wait to accept this job offer because I needed to come back and meet his friend Tony. Tony had just started an ad network in the Bay Area, and he thought I really needed to come back and meet him. 3 weeks later, I was an employee at Link Exchange. That was one of the best decisions I could have made. And this is where I started learning about passion, patience, creativity, and persistence, and community, and celebration. I think I'll take a theme from Frank's book, celebration, and I enjoyed all that during my time there. And I want to tell you a little side story. Some of the guys there had created a networking event, I'll call it, called Drink Exchange. And the idea was once a month, we would post a secret location, like hours before the event, and usually it was a bar or a restaurant, and we'd post it out, and just a bunch of people would show up. But the trick was, you couldn't buy yourself a drink, you could only buy someone else a drink. So it ended up being a great networking opportunity. It was also a recruiting opportunity and a business development opportunity for all of us. So again, I learned how to celebrate. I joined 4 more startups in the following years. Every single startup, I had a great time, successful exits. But about 3 years ago, I was working for a big company. I was the head of web and marketing for a large publicly traded company. And I didn't have any passion. I was a little lost, in fact. I had the big girl job and the big girl title, the big girl salary. Because was that what I was supposed to do? I just wanted to see if I could work for a big company. and I just didn't have any passion around it. And I also finally had an idea. I came up with that idea that really made me, it pushed me out of that comfort zone I'd been in for so long, because I was always that supporting player. I wasn't the founder, it wasn't my idea. I was always kind of that next man down. And I loved that role, I was passionate about that role. But I never really wanted to be the CEO or the founder unless I had that perfect idea. But that ended up being a really big excuse, because it took me 23 years to finally do it. So last year, I launched a company called Givelocity. It's a social enterprise. It's basically a social network for giving. Folks pool donations together, and by communities, they vote together on where their pooled donations go. People give about $1 or $2 a month, and we've already given away $20,000. And so I feel great about that. And that's what I gained from getting out of that comfort zone into that magic zone. And for you, I wish you the patience with yourself. It took me 23 years, but I learned that entire time, and now have those tools to do my own startup. Persistence, creativity, but most of all, passion and celebration. Thank you very much.